Have you been wondering about potentially writing a book? Maybe you've been inspired to write one. Maybe someone you know has written one and you've kind of been wondering about it. Maybe you've had a couple of doubts. Maybe you don't believe that your story deserves to be heard. The story deserves to be heard, and there are ways to get it done. And I'm here to help you get it done. The Spring Forward Writers Retreat is coming up March 14th to 16th in Orlando, Florida. So be sure to go to springforwardretreat.com to sign up and get your spot. But we're going through the process. We're going to lead you all the way from start to finish on how to get your book done, how to ideate, how to set up your outline, and how to create the content for your book in as little time as possible. We are shortening the distance between your idea and your fully completed manuscript. By the end of the weekend, you will come away as an author with your completed manuscript. And you'll be coming away with the next steps that you need to take to become a best-selling author. Not just a published author, but a best-selling author. So again, be sure to check out springforwardretreat.com for more information.
Just be you. Be human. Don't be a larger-than-life image. Why? What for? You try to be a cartoon? Good on you. But eventually cartoons have end credits.
Oh, that's good.
And then what's next? Now you become a commercial break before you do it all over again. And it's the same show.
Up. That's great. I love that. Commercial break.
It's like, pause. Okay, back to your previously scheduled program already in progress. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, 3 important points there. So 1, take a break.
Mm-hmm.
When you sense yourself being stretched too thin or about to be, don't wait till you get there. That's the worst. Speaking from experience, don't do that.
That's coming from an island girl, y'all. Just remember that, and just didn't forget that. Y'all know how far to push and how far to step back. So I'm like, I ain't trying to make y'all mad.
So taking a break when you need to feeds into point number 2, which is self-assess. You talked about learning when you reach a crossroads, when you reach a fork in the road. Do you want to do this? Do you want to stay on the path that you're on? Like self-assessment is extremely important. Exactly. So I love that you touched on that. And that goes back to the very first point you made about ideation. Like never stop doing that. Like if you're a creative, you have to constantly ideate because it helps you flex the muscle of critical thinking and problem solving, because the human mind is a problem solving mechanism. Hey,
always
love that.
This is one of my 3 logs that I keep. I actually have the 2 others somewhere around here. I keep them all over the house.
Because I love that it's a sloth that's on the cover.
That's my sloth log, man. This is my sloth log. Let's go. I love it. If you have one of these, keep these around. Keep a moleskin book in you. Keep a mobile journal. Even if you got your phone, set up your notes to create an idea journal. Whenever you come up with an idea or a thought that could lead to an idea, document it.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest ideas have been lost because people did not take the time to sit down, write it down. Maybe you don't have time to gloss over it or do research on it at the time. That's okay.
Write it down.
Put the initial thought down and then keep going. You'll come back and go, oh, I forgot about that. And by that time, the idea has been allowed to expound and to grow, and you can put more into it and you can create more around it. And it goes from an idea to an entity. So that works out.
Facts.
Downsides, I got too many of these damn things around the house.
So ideation and self-assessment. And then number 3, which I would love to talk about in more detail, is what you were talking about as it relates to burnout. And, the sort of stark difference between how content creators can be in front of the camera versus who they are in real life. Like, I would love for you to talk about that, because you're like, Montel isn't someone who's just a office corner content creator. Like, he goes to comic conferences. He goes to San Diego Comic-Con every single year. Like he is out and about. He's in the wild. Okay. So I know
I
you
touch
meet other,
grass.
you touch grass.
I touch grass.
You talk to other content creators, you meet them, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure some of them are like, oh, you are not who you are online. Like you are somebody very different. So I would love for you to kind of expand a little bit more on that, like dig a little bit more into that.
One of the things I learned in my journey being a content creator is who you are in front of the camera versus who you are behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I always made it my point to be me all the time. All the time. Mel, you've known me for years. Even now, you're looking at me going, yep, that's Montel. This is me all the time.
All the
way
time.
I move, the way I speak, this is me all the time. You don't have to be like me, because what I do and what I speak on is how I live.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I carry myself. But understand that if you are a content creator and you create content and people follow you, they have expectations. They have an image in their mind of you, how you are portrayed, and how they expect you to conduct yourself.
Mm-hmm.
My thing about that is, simply put, just be yourself. Be yourself. Don't create this over embellished image of yourself one way, and then when you get in front of the crowd, all they see is this complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
That now you've now created something that shouldn't have been a problem, but is now, because you've become an actor or actress in real life. Hey everybody, welcome to my TikTok. My name is blah 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 blah. Turn on camera. Oh, I hate life. I hate people. I hate everything.
Listen, and that's real.
Two different personalities. You become a Jekyll and Hyde when it comes to content creation. And that's one thing I've always motivated myself to be. So if I'm in front of the camera and I'm speaking, when I go out in public, they can see that how I am in front of the camera is how I am in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I'll speak life into you. I love that. I love speaking life into people. So I do it in front of the camera and outside of the camera. But if you get burnt out on it, admit that. Your audience will connect with you more if you speak on how tired you are, how much of a challenge it is to create content all the time, and that you need to take a step back. Believe it or not, you will have motivators that will say, we'll be here when you come back. Yeah. Whatever you need, we got you. And I am blessed to have so many people that if I say, hey, I need to step back for a little bit, I got things going on in life, my DMs will blow up with people asking me, are you okay? Do you need anything? What can I do to help? I'm not asking them to do this for me. They're motivated because they see me as I am, and they've implemented me as part of their life, which is a blessing, because I would return the favor in kind.
Mm-hmm.
So when you create content, just be mindful. Be mindful of how you're presented. If you want to be larger than life, there's nothing wrong with that. But also know that there is a downside to that too, because you have to go out in public. And if you come across as this comedic figure who's cracking jokes and stuff all the time, and people see you in real life and you're not doing it, you're kind of setting yourself up to be a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
So just be wary, be careful. I've never had to worry about that, because over time, I've grown into being more of myself. Instead of being that quiet, shy, motivating guy, I'm a loud, screaming, preaching, motivated kind of guy. What are you doing? Yeah. Get in front of the camera.
Exactly.
And sometimes Mel would be like, do you have to be that loud? Yeah, I do. Yeah, he's hearing impaired. He doesn't have his hearing aid in. So
you know what I'm saying? Like... and he's telling the truth, y'all. Like, we've been out, and I'm just like, wow. Like, I have to like reminder, like this was how it was in the Navy. Like, there you go, Melissa. This is your reminder. Like, yeah.
So many times, y'all, we were on the same ship together. So many times she'll knock on my stateroom door, because I taught her how to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Yes. Fun fact. Taught her how to play. She doesn't play anymore, but she still has those memories. She has, and I
still have the cards. Like, you would be the only person I would play with. Like,
I promise you, we meet each other, we see each other again. We're gonna have that long overdue duel. But to know that I could provide comfort, camaraderie, and friendship to people from different walks of life, whether I see you in real life or I meet you online and meet you in real life, that means a great deal to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's that connectivity that a lot of people are seeking, but they
Yeah.
don't know how to get it. Just
Yeah.
be you. Be human. Don't be a larger than life image. Why? What for? You try to be a cartoon? Good on you. But eventually cartoons have end credits.
Oh, that's good.
And then what's next? Now you become a commercial break before you do it all over again. And it's the same
Shut
show.
up. That's great. I love that. Commercial break.
It's like, pause. Okay, back to your previously scheduled program already in progress. I ain't got time for that. I'm 56.
People don't like commercials. People don't like commercials.
Because they're impatient.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you and I, we grew up on TV. If there was a commercial, you had 2 or 3 minutes to do everything you needed to do before the show came back on. Exactly. Straight up. You knew there was a timer. And we'll be right back after these messages. Go! Get the snacks! Get in the bathroom! Get out of the way! I'll pee on you! Oh my gosh! And then you get done, get back in front of the TV. We now return with seconds to spare.
Yep. Absolutely. Wow. That was a bar though. I really like that. Like if you're a cartoon long enough, then you'll end up becoming a commercial break. Like that's real. That was a bar. And then it goes back to what we were talking about with burnout. Like after a while that does, because we're not meant to do that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Far from it.
Some of us are wired with high energy. Like Montel is somebody that's wired with high energy.
I don't know what you're talking about. Don't yell at me.
He's a people person.
Don't call me out like that. I don't know what you're talking about. It's this thing that you speak of.
But yeah, like some are wired that way. Not all of us are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're self-aware and you know exactly how you are wired, maybe you are somebody that doesn't like people, but you're a content creator and you do have information to share with people.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest about that. Like there's some content creators that are like that. There's one gentleman that I follow, Montel, his name is Dan Coe. Like just from, if you watch his presentation, you can tell this dude is very detail oriented. He is very methodical. He speaks at a very specific pace. He kind of talks like a professor, even though he's not like a collegiate kind of person, but he's very studious. He's a writer.
He's a serial killer. Got it.
I mean, like if you look at some
described a serial killer.
I mean, if you look at some of his thumbnails, you might think so. Like his face is always very straight, very like alpha male, like very, and he's very matter of fact. And when I say alpha male, like he doesn't come across in his videos alpha male. He comes across just confident. To the point. Yeah, confident, to the point, monotone. He's just telling you the information.
Okay.
Like you gonna get this work. Like that's the kind of person that he is. But imagine if he's wired like that, but then tried to come across as somebody big, loud, and funny. Like that's not congruent. You know what I mean?
Far from it. It doesn't align. And when it comes time to meet him in person, what you see online is what you see in person. You don't have any differences. There's no changes. There's no there aren't anything out of the ordinary about him. And and that's how I am.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I go to a convention, especially I go to conventions, you see me at a con, you're gonna get all this love. What's going on?
All the screaming, like like, oh my God, how you doing? Like all the scream.
You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Why? Oh, nothing. Don't seem enthusiastic. Shut up. I'm enthusiastic.
Like this is us happy. You know what I mean? Like you have to tell people like, no, don't, we good. Like this is us happy. You know.
So when I meet up my people at cons, it's always a reunion for me.
Yeah.
I've been designated the community uncle.
I love it.
I don't know how I got that title, but
it's the frosty beard.
Yeah, like that part. Before I had this dang on thing, they were just like, Oh, okay. He's just talking. Oh, okay. But even before I had this, my mission was always clear, and what I did was consistent. And since then, there have been people who have just stopped supporting me and stopped following me for their own personal reasons. That's fine.
Yeah.
I never burn a bridge. I just put a sign in front of it.
Oh, that's good.
Until further notice.
Yeah.
When I do that, that means you'll have a chance to come back and say, hey, so I had a chance to rethink. I was, no problem. Come on back. You want snacks? You hungry? You good? Come on, let's go. You have to be able to forgive. You have to be able to show humility and empathy, even in content creation. Because at the core of it all, we're all human beings in front of a camera and a microphone, trying to convey a message, trying to maybe entertain somebody, motivate somebody, make the days less dreary. And eventually the dreary days will clear and the sun will come out. So are you going to stay consistent to what you're trying to do? Or are you just being, in effect, a reaction to a situation until it's comfortable for you to go back to wherever you were? Consistency is everything as a content creator. It's everything.
Facts.
Everything, because your audience has an expectation of you. And like you alluded to before, yes, I travel to conventions every chance I get. I go to San Diego every year. I go for work, but it's always fun because it's a reunion. I see people that I don't get to see all year round. And we get to chit chat and catch up. I get to meet new people. I get to see things. I get to discover things. Or BlurredCon, which I'm a longtime staff member. I've been a part of it since day one. And I run the tabletop room. During my tenure on that staff, I have connected and vibed with so many people that a lot of people wouldn't have even think they got a chance to connect with. That's because I just present myself how I am online, how I'm in real life. Even if I'm in a hotel room by myself, I'm still a goofball. With or without an audience. I mean, I live alone, so I'm sort of going, do I want pudding or do I want cake? I don't know. So somewhere my guardian angel is
yeah, the face palm.
This boy. Oh my gosh. Okay. No, I don't want a different job. I like this one. It's just
he weird.
He has moments. Bless his heart. He has moments. So it's always about how you present yourself. And those opportunities will open up when people see that you're genuine and you're legit and that you're all about a specific mission. What's your mission statement, if you will?
Yeah. And bonus on that, something to kind of highlight there with the mission statement is, if you're watching this and content creation is your luxury item, like your show, your podcast, like whatever that thing is, if that's your luxury item, here's what you need to know. Do not be afraid to repeat yourself. You're going to have to. Yes. You're gonna have to. Like, if you tune into this show, what do I always say? Good evening, my winners and goal getters. I use both terms. Good evening, my winners and goal getters.
Even got the cup right there behind it too.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, the cup right there. Even if she doesn't say it, she just kind of point right over her shoulder.
It's there. It's there. Every episode, just peering over at you, like, hey. Like, don't forget you're one of these.
You see that cup? That's you right there. Not the cup, the message. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the significance of the merch too. Like, I'll wear shirts that have the message, like luxury item. Like, I recently had a shirt that said "execute," like with my logo on the end of it. Or like I did a live stream talking about the lessons I learned after coming back from Jamaica with my family, and the shirt I was wearing says "do the most." Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are messages that are consistent because, to your point, mission statement, like, my goal is to transform procrastinators into producers. So I use every message that I can get to get it to them. Because, different words, different phrases resonate with different people depending on how they're wired. You know what I mean?
I agree. Just like I created the term blurticorn. And
I love that. Yeah.
It's always funny explaining to people what a blurticorn is.
Like, what is that?
Like, well, I will just stand up and show.
Yes.
I've had this hoodie forever, but I've had merch create it, and I got to find a better way of doing it because drop shipping is trash.
Facts. I'm learning that too.
I learned that a long time ago. It was like, oh, you want to sell this? Yeah, give us money first, and we'll give you money that you earned. Wait, what?
Like, give me a big chunk of that money too. Like,
exactly. So when I created Blurticorn, I said I didn't want it to be the standard. I'm a blurred, you're a blurred. Everybody gets to be a blurred. I mean, I'm proud of the title. Proud of being a blurred, absolutely. But what sets us apart? What separates us from the normal herd? And I said, what does that make me? Am I unique? Am I different? Am I passionate a specific thing? Do I approach it a different way? So what's one of the most unique creatures in all of mythology? A unicorn. So I decided to take unicorn and blurred, put it together.
Love it.
And created Blurticorn. And shout out to Tiffany Haddish because she was my anger motivation for that, because when she wrote that book, I'm a Black Unicorn, I said, oh, hell no, you ain't. Because that term drove me crazy in the way it was referenced. And I said, no, baby. No, there are people who are way better Black unicorns than you could ever be.
Shots fired.
With shotgun shells. I'm trying to make an impact. Let's go. So, so I don't despise anyone who says they're a Black unicorn at all, if you understand what it means. But sometimes terms and phrases can be overused to the point where they lose their power. And anytime I refer to anyone on my shows as a Blurticorn, I see their excitement, because that is a term that's a rite of passage to a lot of people. And I'll say, hey, my fellow Blurticorns, what's going on? How's everybody doing? And I've had friends of mine who are cosplayers, content creators, all types, wearing my hashtag Blurticorn. And it makes me proud, because that's an identification. That means you are passionate. You love what you love, and nothing's going to stop you. And you're going to show the world. And it could be a great conversation starter. What's a Blurticorn? I'm glad you asked. But when I created it, I only had one mission in mind: to give something to those who didn't feel like they had anything, especially the melanated lovers of anime and comics and sci-fi and fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons, and those who are readers, those who are writers, those who are songwriters and musicians and singers and cosplayers, programmers who come up with the most incredible game designs, or who are artists or graphic or otherwise, who add their talents to somebody's brand in some way, shape, or form. What sets you apart? Your heart and how you approach it is what makes you a true Blurticorn. And as long as you identify with that, that's your superpower.
I love that. I love that.
Stop putting me on these soapboxes, Mel. You do this every time. It's like, here's a question. Dad, blame it. I'm trying not to be this way, so I feel all preachy.
That's where the value is, though. You know what I mean? The key is to listen. That, like, I let the lessons, and this is to your point about what separates us, right? Like, this is one of those things that separates me as an interviewer. Even back when I was in the media industry, like everybody I spoke to, elected officials, athletes, whatever, one of the things they loved about me was that I listened. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't trying to spitfire the questions like super quickly, unless it was a situation that called for that. Like, they just got done with their press conference and I'm walking with the mic as they're walking. You know what I mean? The walk and talk is different.
That's true.
Yeah, that calls for a different energy. But like sit down interviews like this, I'm a conversationalist. Like, it's a convo. Like, whatever you're sharing, I'm letting you say it as you want to say it. I'm not framing the interview any particular way. I'm not spinning anything. And I'm gleaning myself as a listener, as a fan, whatever. And in your case, I'm both. Like, I'm friend and fan. So I'm trying to hear all the things.
Give me everything. Give me everything.
Give me everything.
This is how I go. And that's how my convos are. That's how I am in every time. I don't like rapid firing questions. It makes it feel impersonal. It makes me feel like
Exactly.
the only thing I'm here for is to put you on here, connect to my face, get a few words from you. Thank you for joining me. Oh my gosh, I interviewed so-and-so. I don't care.
Yeah.
I want to know who you are.
Who you,
And from the beginning to the end, if you know of me and we have a conversation, we're connected. Anytime I
yeah,
see you in public, you're getting that love. Why? Because you took the time to sit down with me, to show the world who you are, and we can just geek out and goof on and crack jokes and
exactly.
say stupid things. There's no boundaries. There's no particular guideline that has to be followed, except be yourself. Be respectful and be yourself. That's what I say every time to everybody who watches and people here. Just be respectful and be yourself. That's all.
That's it.
All. In the long run, you become more blessed because you give people the opportunity to let their guard down.
Exactly.
Let them be themselves. Let them be a goofball. If they have a particular tick, you don't sit there and point that tick out. Why? They're being themselves. If anything, that just makes it more human. That makes it more relatable.
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about with me. Because there's so many blurs that are still in the dark that need to be brought to the light and be shown that love and that care and that empathy that they are deserving. But they listen to content creators who are no more focused on their numbers and their revenue than they are your feelings and how it affects you. Yeah, no thanks. I never wanted that life.
That part. All right. Couple final questions here as we wind down. Number one, I definitely got to ask you about Urban Patriot because this gentleman here cosplays y'all as Urban Patriot. You see the shield behind his chair.
Too. He's right there.
Yeah, he's right there. Talk like what inspired you to get into cosplaying that character? Why that character? And like, what is that experience like every year? Because you do it every year. So talk about that.
I honestly haven't done Urban Patriot in a couple of years because of this. This here.
The frosty beard.
Yes, the frosty beard. So that's transitioned over to Master Roshi from Dragon. So
even more iconic.
Even more pervy. Great. Is a reflection of me, ladies and gentlemen.
Well.
And one thing you also didn't know, and I'll say this real quick, I'm getting into voice acting finally.
Yes.
So I'm finally getting into voice acting. So I'll keep you posted on that. It's still a journey, but I'm trying.
You're gonna succeed at that, like for sure.
2013, the year that I started my YouTube, was also the first year I started cosplaying because I go to Dragon Con every year, which is a 5-day pop culture convention in Atlanta, downtown Atlanta. It's everything. If you ever get to go, it's not in a venue. It's spread over 5 hotels. So basically we take over downtown Atlanta and it's everything. 70,000 people all spread out. It is one of the dopest things in the world. So I used to go with a group of friends of mine. And one of my friends, his name is, wow. Why am I drawing blanks? I hate drawing blanks.
Well, your friend, it'll come back. But yeah, one of your friends.
Chris.
Okay.
His name is Chris, but he's also known as Sam Jackson's stunt double across social media. This man is a cosplay savant. We travel every year to Dragon Con. We've been doing it for the past few years. But I told him I was interested in being in going to cosplay. And he said, so what do you want to get into? I said, I would like to do black superheroes, particularly ones that have a history, that have a story. And he said, I got one just for you that I don't wear anymore. He gave me Patriot.
Wow.
And it was on point because Isaiah Bradley and Eli are 2 of my favorite characters. If you don't know, Isaiah Bradley is the Black Captain America. So Eli Bradley is Patriot, who is his grandson.
Okay.
The story behind it blew my mind. It's like, you mean to tell me, as in so many things, the black man was the first, but the white man gets the credit? Oh, so a black man got the super soldier serum first. And they sent him on a suicide mission to kill Hitler. His platoon, he was the only one that came back, and they court-martialed him. Long, crazy story. But I love characters with a story. And Patriot just resonated with me. And I saw it, and I loved it. I started wearing it. I modified, and I changed it, made it my own. One of the few times I enjoyed shaving all the hair off my face, because you can't be a young man and you got a gray patch on your face. That just doesn't work. But I love that character. Genuinely love that character and what he has gone through on the pursuit of being who he is. It's a family business. And again, family is about legacy. It's about what you leave for the future generations. What's the history? What type of legacy and dynasty you want to leave behind? And that's why I went there.
I love that. I love that. Like when I saw you in the full costume, I was like, wow. Like the first time, my mind was blown. I was like, wow.
Like, that's my friend.
Yeah.
He didn't look like that before. Little squirrely dude. Look at that.
Like, I know this dude. I love it. I love it. So the last question is, where can people find you? Where can they support your merch? Because I love that logo, love that sweater. It's fire. Like, where can people support you? Because you are someone who is such a giver. Like, and I'm sure people watching me are also like either blurs or nerds. They might not be black, but they might be nerds too. They might love the anime.
We're all in the same vein. Yeah. Some just have better tans than others. It's perfectly fine.
So yeah, where can they follow you? Where can they support you?
Well, if you want to do it at your own risk, and I will make sure you sign a NDA.
A release form. Yeah.
No, we don't NDAs because you don't discuss anything. I am Navy Montel across all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Bluesky, X. I'm totally getting away from that. And mainly Instagram and YouTube. I do a show on Instagram and YouTube, and on Twitch. I'm a Twitch streamer as well. I do a show called the Blurticorn Convos, where I get a chance to speak with content creators of all walks of life and get to highlight their journey and find out who they are. And we have fun doing it. My merch right now, I'm on hold because I'm trying to find a different distributor and provider. The way I was going before, it just wasn't conducive. And as much as I loved getting it, I didn't like crying at my bank account. And if you know that, so if you know, you know. But come check me out. Come see what I'm doing and just be a part of the fun. And, I tell everyone, as always, please stay nerdy, stay geeky, and stay sexy.
Favorite slogan. I love that. That's like the best ever. Because people never associate nerds or geeks with sexy. And it's like, if you know, you know. I'll leave it at that. You know what I'm saying?
The best lovers in the world are geeks and nerds. And if you sleep on that, you'll stay an insomniac. That's all I got to say.
You know what I'm saying? Plus, that was a bar. I love that. Love that. But Montel, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your heart, your love, your experiences with our audience. And yeah, man, thank you for pursuing your dream, because people tend to look at nerddom as a hobby or something. Like, no, like thanks to platforms like YouTube and podcasting platforms, people have made whole careers out of this. You know what I mean? So thank you for not just relegating it to that, but you were like, this is what I love. I'm going to pursue this and be true to it. So thank you for being an example. Appreciate you.
Thank you for bringing me on here, my friend. You're doing good work out here.
A lot of this is reinforcement. You know what I mean? Success leaves clues. All of the principles are universal. These are things that all of the most successful people in the world would tell you to do if you sat down with them. So be sure to be taking notes when you're seeing these videos, these interviews, and apply what applies most to you in the moment. Obviously, we're in a new year and we want to make sure to do things as optimally as possible. So again, be sure to subscribe here. If you're on YouTube, go to @GettingTheWin. So just hit the subscribe button there, @GettingTheWin. Subscribe there. And of course, follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Threads @GettingTheWin_show. But enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great rest of your Wednesday and a great and productive rest of your week. Peace.